Division ID SCP-USA-64. Object Number 356. Risk Type Disappearance, Behavior Alteration. Threat Level Black. Containment Procedures. Basic stranger danger rules apply. If you're walking alone at night and you see a group of people cloaked in darkness walking towards you, turn and walk in the other direction until you make it home, or find another person to stick to. Also, if you're part of a group located near a beach, keep an eye out for any signs of 356 activity. There's no real reason it'll spread anywhere else, but it's better to be safe than sorry. Local containment procedures. Every day, an hour or so before the sun sets, we put some firewood on the beach to lower the risk of 356s leaving. We observe the beach in groups of at least 2 every night to make sure no 356s venture out, or random people try to walk onto the beach. Should anyone try to wander onto the beach, we deter them in any way we can. We've been pretending to be security guards and telling people the beach is off limits overnight, which has worked pretty well so far. Description: 356 is a group of figures which walk out of the ocean onto East Point Beach at sunset every night. Currently, there are somewhere between 30 and 50 of these figures, though it's difficult if not impossible to get a real head count. They all appear to be humans of various heights and weights. However, other defining details are largely obscured by shadows, which do not appear to be affected by nearby sources of light. Every night, they create a few large bonfires which they all gather around, while appearing to talk and look up at the sky. They will disperse and return to the ocean sometime before dawn, when it becomes more difficult to see the stars. Typically, all the 356 will stay on the beach, making them a trivial threat to deal with. However, sometimes a small group of 3 or 4 356s will leave the beach and go into town. We believe they primarily do this when there is not enough firewood on the beach, but we aren't completely sure. While off of the beach, 356 will attempt to communicate with anyone they see walking alone outside. If successful, this person will return to the beach with them and walk into the ocean, along with the 356. We think this either transforms them into a 356, or allows for the creation of a new one. But again, we aren't entirely sure. If someone else approaches the 356s while they are talking to someone, the 356s will retreat into the nearest shadow where they will disappear, and their spell over the person will be broken. People who 356s have talked to don't remember exactly what the conversation was about, or what the 356s looked like, but remember having an uneasy feeling while talking to them. Update: November 21st, 2023. Last week, some drunk college kids pulled up in a car and tried to get onto the beach. Andy tried to stop them by saying he was security, but one of the kids decked him and he passed out on the pavement. Fortunately, Carol and Martha were both there as well. So Martha stayed with Andy until the police arrived, and Carol ran after the kids to try to stall them until the police came. Andy was taken to the hospital with a concussion. Martha stayed behind to make sure Carol was okay, but the police wouldn't let her come with them to the beach. We had to bail Carol out of jail the next morning because the cops arrested her along with kids for being uncooperative. Martha tried to get some information out of them, but all they let slip was that there wasn't anyone else on the beach, though there were 3 bonfires, 2 of them unattended. The next morning when we talked to Carol, she seemed really out of it. She told us that by the time she could see the beach, all the 356s had disappeared, and the kids were sitting by one of the fires. She went over and sat with them in order to convince them to leave the beach, but everything after that was hazy. We'd never risked retrieving someone from the beach before, and it was clearly affecting her memory, so we decided we'd have to keep her away from the beach for a while, under observation. She seemed enthusiastic about it, and said she didn't want to be near the beach anymore, since the winter forces will be returning soon. Obviously, this confused all of us. Martha asked her to elaborate. She became fully incomprehensible. We tried to piece it all together afterwards, but all we really understood was that there was some sort of armed conflict, which involved the beach, or a beach, in some way. It was truly freaky. She was definitely speaking English, but it sounded almost like another language. When she saw the looks on our faces, her face dropped. She asked why we seemed confused, then her eyes widened, and then her face fell. She whispered something to herself. Martha thought she said something about going a layer deeper, and refused to talk to us for the rest of the night. She got physical with me when I caught her trying to sneak out of the house that night, and managed to push her way out the door. Fortunately, Martha had thought ahead, and had installed a Find Your Friend app on Carol's phone in case something like this had happened. She was going the opposite way of the ocean, which was a relief, but We knew we'd have to track her down anyways. We found her all the way out in Nobleboro, in someone's backyard with a fire pit going. When we approached them, their conversation petered out, but we could see it was the same kids who'd been on the beach that night. Carol's been avoiding us now, even during the day. When she does talk to us, it's never for long, just small talk, until she can find an excuse to walk away. We've been keeping an eye on that group for a week now, and they've been doing the same thing. 356s haven't been showing up at their meetings, and don't seem to be making their way over to them, as far as we can tell. We're not really sure why the police didn't end up around the fire as well, and they've refused to give us any information as to what dispute actually took place on the beach. We haven't really learned anything new about 356 through this experience. The only thing we've learned for sure is that once someone's been drawn in by their fires, they're as good as gone.